to our open house for the College for Creative Studies. My name is Patty Spencer. I'm an admissions counselor, and I'm here to introduce our president of the college, Don Tuski. So he is going to do a quick presentation for you guys. And if you have questions, you are very welcome to put them in the chat. And either I will answer it, or we can definitely get them answered towards the end there when he's done with his presentation. Please stay muted, and I would say leave your video off for now because we are recording this. So just want you to be aware of that. Again, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. And we will definitely make sure that we get them answered. So again, welcome everyone to the College for Creative Studies open house. And I'm going to introduce President Don Tuski.
Thanks, Patty. And I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. And I know we got a lot of people from the Midwest, but all over the country, which is great, and beyond. So thanks for joining us. I'm going to go over a few slides and a little bit of information about CCS and talk a little bit about why art and design school. And I want to commend you right away and congratulate you for exploring a creative career at a place like College for Creative Studies. And the first slide here is a painting from Katie Howley, which is really wonderful, big, just love to use to start out with. But if you get a chance to visit our campus, either do at least a virtual tour or come physically to the campus. We have one of the most beautiful art and design college campuses in the country, and not even to say the world. And we actually have two sort of parts to our campus. We have what you're looking at right now is our Ford campus. And you're looking actually to the Walter B. Ford building, but there's several other buildings up there with a beautiful sculpture garden, which is really wonderful. So you get a really good college feel on this campus from some very diverse buildings. So I would encourage you to do the virtual tour, and then also, if you possible, to visit the campus, see firsthand the great facilities we have, and certainly meet our faculty and students that are here right now. We've been on campus all through the pandemic, which was a lot of work, as you can imagine. And then we also have, besides having the Ford campus, we have the Taubman Center campus, which is where our design program is at, our design majors. One of the great things about CCS is we have a really great range of majors, as you'll explore on our website and through the rest of the open house and connect departments. We have a lot of design majors, and many of them are housed in the Taubman Center. This was the first General Motors design and engineering building. But we also have great arts and crafts. We do glass blowing, and we do ceramics and metalsmithing and jewelry, and we also have the fine arts, as well as entertainment arts, like game design, concept design, animation, of course. And then we have illustration, which a lot of students do, so they can go off in different areas. So a lot of great majors that really have great career paths, no matter what you do, which is really important to know about. Art and design is something that there's a real need for art and design education, and there's a need for creativity in the world. Whether it's in a studio, the community, in a business or corporation, there's a great need for more creative professionals applying their creativity in multiple ways. And the fact that you're on this Zoom call, this open house, this virtual open house, means you're interested in some type of creative experience leading to some type of creative career. Some of you know real clearly what you want to do. Some of you want to explore. The great thing about going to an independent art design school like College for Creative Studies is you're around a lot of creative people like yourself. And that just makes everybody much more creative. There's a great learning community here of faculty, staff, students, and even our alumni. So at CCS, we have fine art, we have all types of design, we have transportation design, product design, advertising, communication design, fashion and accessories now, which is great, interior design. I mentioned the crafts already. We also have, I mentioned ceramics, metalsmithing and jewelry, and I'm really excited to always have glass. And so it's really wonderful. And then entertainment arts and illustration. And so if you're into games, there's a esports club now on campus, which is pretty cool. But all that's great, but we need to have great career service, great career support. So if parents are on the call, I want to assure parents that we spend a lot of energy and resources on making sure that students have what we call sponsored projects, which are projects that a company or an organization might sponsor with our students so they get a real good sense of a real world creative experience, whether it's in transportation and product and entertainment and crafts or fine arts. We also provide opportunities for any students to do internships. We have industry days where companies and organizations come to our campus and look at our student work and interact with it and interact with our students. We have a lot more entrepreneurship curriculum because some of you are going to want to go on to start your own company and have your own design company or entertainment company or animation company. And we have alums that have started their own television shows, which I'll show you in a minute. Big City Greens, it's called. It's animation on Disney Plus. But we also do workshops, exhibitions, and then finally, mentoring is really important for you to have a faculty member that you can go to get career advice. Besides doing all the kind of career exploration, that mentoring is really important to help you figure out what pathways you want to go on in terms of your career, your creative career. And you have great faculty and staff commitment at CCS. Our student culture is fantastic. Our student government is very active. And there are lots of clubs and organizations to be a part of. Many of them, of course, have to do with creative fields, but some of them don't. And then if you want to see more of our student work, you can look at our student exhibition from 2021 on our website. There are a lot of great alumni profiles under career and alumni on our website you might want to take a look at. And finally, I want to make note, and again, this is not just for students, but for parents. One of the important parts of my job is to raise more and more scholarships for students attending CCS. And that we do provide a lot of good scholarships for students, both merit and need-based. Your counselor can tell you about that in the financial aid office, but we do provide a tremendous amount of scholarships, and we're raising more scholarships as well. So as you look at different schools, you want to make sure that you look and ask about all the scholarship we provide, in addition to maybe the state or federal support you might get. But we provide an awful lot of scholarships that I just want to make sure that you ask your admissions counselor and financial aid office to see this, how much we can provide support for you. So the world needs and wants a lot more creativity in all aspects of life. Even in different parts of this country, there are companies and organizations that need creativity, and especially any type of design work, creative work. And that what you do in an art and design school like CCS is you learn to come up with something new, authentic, or original. And many of you have already done that, and you're going to do and learn to do more of that. That's part of why you're interested in art design school, is to always come up with something that's new, authentic, or original, and learn to see the world more thoughtfully and thoroughly and from different perspectives. Artists and designers have always been good with that and great with that, and that's why a school like CCS can help you do that. We were creating art during the pandemic. We were very creative, and I'll show you some examples of that. But we're certainly in person now and on campus, but we also have a growing importance on online and hybrid experiences. But we've been on campus, and we're excited to have been on campus the entire time during the pandemic. And students did a great job of creating some great work. One of the great things about an art and design school is you learn a lot of great things that you get to apply right away in real time. And that's something that a lot of good things happen in universities and liberal arts schools, but to be able to learn something, a creative process, and apply it in your own way is something that I think makes the independent art design school a real great choice for students who like to learn and apply at the same time, learn and create at the same time. Now, I'd like to introduce you to one of our alums, Ralph Geels, who's the head of North American design for Stellantis. He was a transportation design major. That's his Jeep that he designed. He designed some other vehicles, but he's an alum from CCS, and he's head of North America designs and South America for Stellantis, and on our board of trustees. And so we actually have a great board of trustees that have a lot of experience, not just in transportation design, but all types of art and design. So you learn also at a place like CCS is to give and take feedback. And some of you are at high schools where you are asked to put your work up on the wall, you show your computer animation to get feedback, not just from your teacher or professor, but also from your fellow students, and that's important. So an important part of art design education is to be able to give and take feedback on a regular basis. And it sounds in some ways easy, but I imagine some of you on the call here know that it takes a certain amount of courage to be able to do that. But if you can become more and more comfortable with getting and receiving and giving feedback, that really makes it great for your career. If you are able to do that on a regular basis and not get defensive over it. Connected to that is this concept of using your head, your heart, and your hands and being all in. As an artist or designer or maker, you're using your head, you're using your hands, but you're also using your passion, your creativity from your heart, and that you're all in, and that you're really committed to the creative process. And I bet you many of you are already at that place in terms of using your head, your heart, and your hands and being all in. Many of you are already intense and you work hard and you use inputs in order to have outputs, meaning you like to look up things and do research. One of the things that make great artists is that they want to research a process or research an area or research a culture. It's important to be able to do that so you have some inputs to have great outputs. And so that's really something to think about as well when you go to art and design school. Another one of our alums who happens to be our academic dean, who's in charge of all of our academic board programs. He was a 1987 transportation design major, but he went on to have a career in the concept designer. In fact, he still does some concept design for Hollywood films. He's done over 100 films where he's done different concepts. These are some of the films, if you're into the Avengers and the Endgame especially. Tim Flattery's done Batmobiles. You can look him up there. There's his website, timflattery.com, if you're into any of the entertainment arts. And we're lucky to have him as part of our faculty and being our academic dean while he still does some concept design for Hollywood. It's pretty cool. And his network of Hollywood directors and designers and creators and concept designers is pretty vast. We have a lot of alumni. I just came back from California where we have over 600 alumni who are working in the entertainment, Hollywood fields, as well as transportation. Tim was one of them before he came back to Detroit. So you might be familiar with this. This is Tim Flattery designed the gauntlet here. That's his avatar when he's not on camera during a Zoom call. This is what he puts up because that's what he designed. That's one of many concepts that Tim's designed. We have so many alumni out there in the design world, the art world, as you'll see, and some of them that working for us, which is great too, because they can help translate to you the different pathways to be a successful artist or designer. So one of the things you do learn at a place like CCS is to use your creativity in collaboration with others. The idea of working always alone is not what really happens in the larger world. Yes, you'll work individually, of course, and you'll have, individually in a studio, but you'll also be asked to collaborate with others. And that's important if you're working on a sponsored project or working on even a project for a class. I already mentioned that you're brave to take on a creative career, to take risks. The idea of taking a risk and going to creativity, to have that courage is really important. In that you learn from sometimes, making mistakes and then having things not work out quite the way you want. A really great artist or designer are able to learn from that and learn from your full range of experience. Really great artists and designers look at the world in a much more thorough way from different perspectives than the general public. And that actually is really a great thing. And I imagine, again, many of you are already doing that. Many of our artists and designers use symbols as visual language. You communicate through your work and bring attention to the unknown and the unnoticed. And that's really important to do as well. An alum that I've had the pleasure to meet, Veronica Scott. I like to say she's a great example of design for the greater good. She designed a coat with the help of homeless people for people without homes. And then when she was interacting and doing research, she found out by talking with people who don't have homes that they needed not just coats, they needed jobs so they could have homes and have apartments. So she started the Empowerment Plan, which is a company here based in Detroit. She's won all kinds of awards. You can Google Veronica Scott and read up on what she's been able to do. But she started the empowerment plan where she employs people without homes so they can learn a trade, how to sew these jackets and coats so they have homes and have places to live. It's a great story of how art design school graduates can really be a part of improving society. So you learn to synthesize and work across multiple areas. Some of you will be entrepreneurs. Veronica Scott is turned into a social entrepreneur because she runs a nonprofit. You use a wide range of tools, technology, software, understand process. It is so great to be at a place like CCS where you still have paintbrushes and pencils and paper, but we have Cintiqs and drawing tablets, high-powered computers that can do gaming software. We have 3D animation. If you're at Fortnite, which you might be familiar with, is one of the games that are powered by this great software. That it's really something to be at a school where you have CNC routers, 3D printers, laser cutters, all kind of equipment and technology, and in order to be a creative professional. But it's a full range of technology, and that's so great to have that. The last bullet here, because of artists and designers always being forward thinking, it's really about creating that cutting edge, not just being on it. And so think about that for a moment. To be a cultural producer, to think about and create the future, not just be on it. And that's something as an artist or designer, you're going to be creating that future, creating that cutting edge, not just being on it. Most people are just happy to know about the cutting edge. What's cutting edge? Artist or designer, you're creating that cutting edge. And that's where it's pretty exciting, because you will always have a job as a creative professional, because artificial intelligence, I'll state that again and again, it's going to be a long time before any kind of computer can do what the human mind can do around creativity. Some more alums that have done Batmobiles besides Tim Flynn. Ed Natividad is a concept designer. He's done, so we've had multiple alums do Batmobiles, which is kind of cool. So you'll develop different models and expressions of artistic practice in order to make a living as an artist or designer. We will make sure that you know how to apply your creativity in multiple ways and not just leave it to chance. So said another way, you can apply creativity to make a living. And that's really important to be able to do, to be creative in a way that you love to be creative and make a living. And the research shows that creative professionals are not only happier being a creative professional, artist or designer, but also we make more money than people realize. Some of you will start organizations or work in all different types of organizations applying your creativity. And some of you will come to lead those corporations and businesses and nonprofits. I mentioned sponsored projects early on, and we do a lot with transportation and product, but we also do them in other fields like crafts. So we have a fibers and textile program that students did a sponsored project where they've created and designed removable wallpaper. And I thought that was fantastic as an artist. So you can do something like this in fibers and textiles or illustration. And I thought that's a really great example of other areas besides our product designers or transportation designers doing sponsored projects. So you learn to innovate, improvise, collaborate, persist, execute with excellence. You can start your own company. You can, as a creative entrepreneur, and you can actually make positive social change, like Veronica Scott did, which I think is really wonderful. I mentioned earlier, Big City Greens. This is Chris Houghton. He's creator, producer, as he has a couple other CCS alums. You can go to Disney Plus to watch this. That's his own show. There's a great interview on our website, him talking about how he created this show, and he can't believe that he gets paid to do that. And it's just really exciting for him, and he's really just so happy to be having his own animated show. I mentioned about artists and designers really thinking beyond a lot of the general public. Well, artists and designers often are exposed contradictions, injustices, whether it's around racism, sexism, homophobia, the hypocrisies that are all around us. Artists and designers do that more than a lot of other people, and that community is really important to them. Inclusive communities are really important to them, and that's the case at CCS. Artists and designers often dig deep in the art and design world to embrace the history of different art processes. That's why it's so cool that we still use paintbrushes and pencils while we're using Cintiqs and drawing tablets and CNC routers and things like that. Connected to that, though, too, is being able to be a good storyteller through your artwork, through your visual expression, and be able to talk about that. The storytelling is so important, and many of you have great stories about your creative process and how you came to be inspired in certain ways. That's really important to be able to be thinking about all the time. So I'm a big Mandalorian fan. I don't know if you are, the spinoff from the Star Wars series, but there's a couple alums. They're on our website too. If you go to alumni, they're recent graduates from 2014 and 19. They can't believe they're out in California working for Pixamundo, creating virtual assets for the Mandalorian show. And they came through CCS. And so that is really cool that they're recent alums doing great. And we have lots of alums. I was out there visiting last week during our spring break. They're working in and around Hollywood, in the entertainment business out there, and in the transportation. And they're coming from all different types of fields, not just entertainment arts, but communication design, from advertising, from product design. Then if you want to go, your parents might remember the old Yoda, the original Yoda. That was designed by Wendy Freud, who was a 76 graduate, who designed those the Yodas there, which is great to have this sort of history of CCS alums being creative professionals within the whole Star Wars industry there, which is cool. So you get to express yourself in multiple ways, apply what you learn in real time, be an artist or designer, make a living with your creativity, and you connect your art design education to a career. For us, we're not going to leave it to chance. We're going to provide you with lots of opportunities while you're still a student to make sure you get that career experience, either through a sponsored project, a service learning project, through an internship, through networking, through industry days, to make sure that as you graduate, you have a clear career plan with multiple choices, and in many cases, a job even before you graduate, which many of our students do. If you're into the fine arts, which we call art practice now, we have a lot of alums in the design world, in entertainment arts world, we have alums that are very successful. Kevin Beasley, in the fine art world, exhibiting at the Whitney Museum. And so we really are an art design school that does the full range of art and design. And we have a history of doing that. And that's pretty exciting to have great designers out there as alumni, but also great fine artists that have graduated that are doing great artwork around the world. So I mentioned earlier about how artists and designers make communities better, and that community is really important in our campus, that you really have a support network, not just of our counselors, our faculty, our staff, but also of our fellow students. And that you make art for art's sake, meaning for yourself, just to be creative, but you also make art designed for life's sake, for a better world, like a Veronica Scott. And you can learn to do that at CCS. And so the world needs and wants more artists and designers. And as I said earlier, why artificial intelligence, and we do some robot design. We were one of the first schools to make the drawing of a car an art form, but it's going to be a long time before artificial intelligence replaces a lot of our creative careers. We're actually designing cars now. Besides being electric, we're designing cars that are being autonomous. So the interiors of cars now are really going to be like rolling robots with living rooms inside of them. But that's our designers designing them, which is pretty cool. And it's not just transportation students, interior design students, it's product design students. It's entertainment art students, because inside these autonomous vehicles are going to be entertainment equipment and technology. Now, if you're interested in connecting with the community, we have Design Corps, which supports local designers. We have Community Arts Partnership. If you're interested in doing service learning, where you're working with younger kids through art projects in different area schools, we have an art education program that some of our art education students participate in Community Arts Partnerships. If you're interested in participating in equity and inclusion activities and programs, we have a whole office of equity and inclusion. And then we're really about making sure our students have experiential learning beyond their school. So they're out in the community, connecting with organizations, with companies, nonprofits, arts organizations, so you have a network before you graduate. If you're interested in shoes, we have shoe design. We've partnered with Pencil Footwear Design Academy, and so we're doing a lot more with footwear design. which is pretty exciting. We have lots of alums who've been doing footwear design through product design or our fashion program, who are working in all these different companies, which is really quite cool. Here's some of the different organizations and companies, from corporations to nonprofits to entertainment companies that they're employed with. Here across the country and around the world, here's some more. And all these companies are looking to us to hire graduates all the time. And again, it's not just working for a company, it could be working for a gallery or a museum. You see the Detroit Institute of Arts, where we have alumni who are working. We have alumni that are working on web design, on web applications and apps through our communication design major. Some people will ask, do you still do photography? Is photography dead? No, it's not. And one of our very successful alumni, Jenny Reicher, and we have a new department with which we combine photography and film. So you can do film and photography. It's still alive and well, and you can be very successful in the photography world. I mentioned earlier, some of our our students. We did some, like many of you, you had to work through the pandemic, and it's been frustrating to do that for all students, especially creative students. You had to learn to have your home be your studio. Well, our transportation design students, they had a sponsored project with Ford Mustang, and the idea was to create a new type of Ford Mustang 10 years from now. What would the Ford Mustang design look like? So back in winter of 2020, if you can think back that far, we had a class of our transportation students start their project, start designing their cars, and they couldn't do their models, their clay models, because the pandemic hit, and that's when we couldn't move around as much. And so they learned some software from the gaming industry, Unreal Engine, which powers Fortnite gaming, if you're any of the gamers into that. Unreal Engine learned to animate their designs. And so the Ford designers that were part of the project just went crazy about how they loved the fact that our students were teaching them how to make their designs come alive. And so we had all of our students to animate their vehicles as part of the project because they couldn't do their 3D models. Now we do the 3D models and we do the 3D animation, which I think is a really pretty cool thing, that our transportation students learned some stuff from our gaming students to make sure they could 3D animate their vehicles. So you can take a short video, and then I'm going to stop there and see if Patty or I have any questions, any answers for your questions. So some of the students wrote their own music too, which was really great. So you have design students doing their animations, running their own music is kind of cool. So anyway, so Patty, we went to see what the chat, see if anybody has any questions. I teach some classes at CCS. I teach a first year experience. So I'm connected to incoming students, which I love, and I've always taught a class, and I actually teach an anthropology class about being a creative entrepreneur, and that's what I'm teaching right now. And so I stay really connected to students, and I love talking with students, and I love teaching my two classes and seeing how things are working out for our current students. So.
Well, so far, no questions in the chat. I don't know if they just are shy tonight. But please, if you guys do have any questions for Don or for admissions, you're welcome to throw them in the chat. If you'd like, you can unmute yourself and ask it in person if you'd rather do that. But either way would be fine. But let us know. We're here to help and answer any questions you might have about CCS, about the programs that we have, about alumni, careers in visual arts, anything like that. Does anybody have any questions?
And just remember, a lot of the slides that I'm referring to, if you go to our website and look around, you can find the alumni page, and they have a lot of great interviews about what you can do with an art design education from CCS. And those sponsored projects and internships really provide a great a launching place for great careers. And so it's really pretty cool to be part of this community.
Yep, and I just put that website link right in our in the chat there, so you guys can grab that. Again, please let us know if you have any questions about anything to do with the school. Nobody has any questions? Somebody has to have some questions.
One of the things maybe I'll reiterate is that I mentioned about the scholarships. So when you are looking at different types of art design education, make sure you ask about what type of scholarships for merit and need-based students. And so we provide a lot of scholarships. We're providing more scholarships. So we're becoming more affordable for students. We've actually have a lot of great donors now that have given us money, have given us more money now for scholarships. So keep that in mind when you think about going to art and design school, to make sure that you inquire about all the different levels of scholarships and financial support.
We have a couple of questions in the chat, but did you get, I see you guys are, go ahead, Danica, if you want to unmute yourself and ask your question, you can do that. You're still muted if you want to unmute yourself.
We have, I'll maybe while you're unmuting yourself, I'll read some of these questions in the chat. We actually have created an easier transfer process to CCS, and that we have a transfer expert with admissions, but we also have great advisors, and so it's easier to transfer to CCS now, and they'll work with you in terms of your credits and what to major in. So it's a good time to transfer to CCS. Would be my answer. And you have a cafe on campus? Yes, we do. We have a cafe on the Ford campus and the Taubman Center campus. And I didn't mention the location. We're in Midtown Detroit, the arts corridor, as they call it. We have the Detroit Institute of Art, which you go to for free. We have 3 or 4 other museums right around us. We have Wayne State University. So we're really in a college part of the city of Detroit in Midtown, and it's really fantastic. And it's really we have 2 great residence halls. I didn't mention those. And I'll say this very seriously. I would live in either one of the residence halls. They're that nice. And we live in, we have one, the Taubman Center, about 350 students live there. And then in the Art Center building, 350 students live there. And we're in a very great part of the city with just great amenities because of all the different museums, and also because of Wayne State. And it's really lots of things to walk to, which is great.
It's nice to have a lot of college-age students in the area as well. So Donald Calloway, he had a question about scholarships that high school students can obtain. I know Don mentioned quite a few of them. Yes. Basically, with your admissions application, we're going to be looking at your GPA from high school, as well as your portfolio for merit-based scholarships, and then any need-based scholarships. Those are going to be based on your FAFSA form that you complete and fill out, and our financial aid office would work with you on that. So there's a couple options.
Patty, somebody said that we need to make sure that we need to.
Yep, I think I fixed it. You should be able to unmute now. That was me. Sorry.
Go ahead, Donald Calloway.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I originally wanted to ask that question out loud, but
sorry about that. That was me.
It's fine.
So you mean high school students can obtain while they're still in high school to go to CCS?
Yes.
So as Patty said, so you apply, and then you review your portfolio, and there would be need-based and merit-based scholarships. And there's a pre-college program that we do in the summertime. We provide some scholarships there as well. If you want to test out what art and design college feels like, and the experience, that we have a pre-college program, and that's on our website as well.
And we also have a really good question from Kai about what kind of mental health services are provided and how close are hospitals. Yeah. Do you want to catch that one?
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah. So that's a great question. Thank you for asking that, Kai. what we've done is increased our mental health and well-being even more. Partly obviously because of the pandemic, but in general, the need for that. So we actually have a great group of counselors that really provide a lot of great support year-round to students, and so we've upped that activity a lot more. And then we are very close to two hospitals, Detroit Receiving Hospital and Henry Ford Hospital. They're both like in walking distance from either the Ford campus or the Taubman Center. So I forgot to mention that. That's where that also makes us a really great part of Detroit. We have two really great hospitals that are located just to the north of us and just to the south of us. The Detroit Pistons practice facility is located right within walking distance over by the Henry Ford Hospital in the west, just to the northwest. So really, again, a great location, but really great mental health services. We have a board of trustees that oversees the school with me, and they actually help provide even more mental health services as well. But thank you for asking that, because that is something we feel that we've worked at to make sure that every student has as much counseling as that you would want when you're at CCS. And even when you're not, because we now provide it year round. So even in the summertime, if you're at home, you can Zoom in or call in to have mental health support.
Excellent. Does anybody else have other questions?
Hi, this is Jitendra Babu Gudi. I just want to know how diversified in transportation design, how is like a portion of girls in the classes?
The transportation design, and what was the other one?
Yeah, only in transportation design. How diversified in that for girls and boys?
So so you want to know what about? Is there a specific question about transportation design?
Yeah, how diverse they are as far as.
Oh, it's very diverse in terms of ethnic background. We are getting more females, but it's diverse in terms of background from different backgrounds from the United States, but also international students. So we have a BFA and an MFA in transportation design. And so we do have a really nice, diverse group of students, as well as faculty that are certainly from the United States and are international as well. I think one of the things that to get a feel of the overall diversity, if you're able to visit in person while we're in session, to be able to see students working, to see the diversity there as well as the faculty, that's one of the best ways to get a good sense of that at CCS and faculty and meet students.
Yeah, thank you. I scheduled for April 19th to be in.
Great.
Thank you.
Great question.
All right, good. These are great questions. I had to pull them out of you, but got some good questions coming out. So does anybody have any other ones? Again, about the programs, about admissions or the application process, anything like that? Nobody has any other questions? We've still got a little bit of time.
So we joined
just
half an hour late. And we're just wondering if this is recorded so we could watch it again.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And it will be posted on our YouTube page probably tomorrow morning. I'll get it posted.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Do you have any questions?
Not at this point, just checking it out for my son.
Okay, awesome. Well, if you watch the video in entirety and you do have other questions, definitely make sure that you reach out to us.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Was there somebody else that was going to ask a quick question there?
No, I think someone read or not. I just want to give a shout out to Patty.
Oh.
She has been wonderful because we had multiple times where I haven't got these Zoom links for the financial aid night application process and even for reviewing portfolios. She is amazing. Thank you, Patty.
You're very welcome.
there's any parents, I love talking to students, but I also love talking to parents. And Danica, you mentioned you're watching for your son. I make special reference to careers and career support, and that we really invested in making sure every student has great career support while they're still a student and then after they graduate. That includes mentoring, sponsored projects, internships, service learning, things that are experiential. So students, before they graduate, know how it all comes together. So we have students who are getting, more students getting jobs before they graduate, but also students that know how to be an entrepreneur if they want to take on clients and be a freelancer. So we really invested and leaned in quite heavily about the whole career part. So there's more of a seamless transition to careers. So we're not leaving it up to chance about what are you going to do after you graduate from art and design school. That we've invested in making sure each and every student gets connected to the larger career part of the world. And so that's something I feel pretty good about in terms of the last couple of years. During COVID, we just kept making more and more relationships with more and more organizations, companies like Ford Motor Company or General Motors, but also galleries. If you're interested in doing work with galleries where you're an artist, being a gallery owner, if you're interested in doing your own freelance work and doing your own work, making sure that students have multiple pathways to making a living as a creative professional.
Yeah, I know we do have a couple parents on here because Jithendra's a parent as well. So
good.
Glad they joined us.
And I'm always one to follow up with a call to the president's office. I mentioned earlier too that I teach a couple classes, a first year experience and then an anthropology class on creative entrepreneurship. And that I always like talking to students and then certainly with parents and prospective students.
And just as a side note too, there's several other presentations going on tonight for the open house. So hopefully you guys have signed up for those and you want to check them out. Does anybody have any more questions? We'd love to chat with you. We got a few good ones tonight. All right, well, I'm going to give you guys a last call. Any last questions or anything else we can help you with tonight? Doesn't look like it. I think we got it covered.
We can always follow up with admissions. And like I said, you're welcome to call the president's office. And I'm pretty good at working in a quick conversation or a call. So
very good. Yes, please reach out to admissions. Grab that website address that I put in the chat. I can put that in here again if you'd like. And just like I said, make sure that you guys let us know if there are questions or concerns really about anything. You can always start with the admissions office. And if we can't answer it, we will point you in the right direction for sure. So I will put the admissions email in here too. So if anybody has any questions after tonight, that you are very, very welcome to reach out to us. Absolutely. So we appreciate everyone coming this evening and joining us. Hopefully you got some good information. I love that Don always does a great job and talks about those careers and everything. And I like that you get excited about some of those too. I think that's really fun to hear. Last chance, you guys. Does anybody have any other questions?
okay, thank you for coming out. Appreciate you being on the Zoom, and hopefully and you'll have a great experience exploring your art and design education choices.
Definitely. Yes. Thank you, everyone. We really appreciate your time tonight. And definitely reach out. Let us know if there's any way we can help. All right. Thanks, Don. Have a great evening.
Yeah, take care, everyone. Thanks. Bye.
Bye, everybody.